The summer wind has come through. The fall breeze is coming as well. The leaves are changing. Pumpkin is being sold. The cool, crisp air. The sounds of one thing happening throughout the country that this country loves to hear every year. And it's these magic words. It's football time! And this is the All Andy Alfred NFL Preview Edition! Right here on your exclusive home for me, Clayfan 23! Oh! What better way to start the NFL season with me right here on your internet home for me, Clayfan23. I am your host, Andy Alfred, welcoming you into this NFL Preview Edition of All Andy Alfred right on here. It is a truly honor and pleasure to be on here on the 4th of September, 2014, on the eve of the first game of the NFL season between the Green Bay Packers and the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. And you'll hear my Super Bowl prediction coming up here in a little bit. We're going to break down a little bit of the teams to look out for this year in the NFL and hear where I think is going to finish in the top 10 in each division this season alone. So let's start off with the AFC East. Well, this is a pretty much a great division with the Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. I think this year Tom Brady is out for redemption. I think Bill Belichick and his crew has set themselves up with a very good club this year. I think Miami might challenge New England. I think here's how I see it in the top. Here's how I see the division falling. The Jets finishing up at a record of 6-10. I have the Bills finishing up with a record of 7-9. The Dolphins at 10-6, and the New England Patriots winning the AFC East with a record of 14-2. 14-2. I see them finishing with only 2 losses on the season. 1 loss to Green Bay, and the other loss to the one of the losses to the Miami Dolphins. In the AFC and the NFC East, you have the Eagles, the Giants, the Washington, and the Cowboys. And yes, I am going to say this right now. On All Andy Alfred and Clayfan23, we respect the Native American culture, and we will not use the R word in this program. The R word has been banned from the program. Of course, we could talk about the Indians, the Cleveland Indians, but having a derogatory term about a football team that's probably going to be finishing dead last, in my opinion. Dead last this year. I think they're going to finish 7-9 this year and finish dead last, because the Cowboys are going to be 8-8 this year. I have the Cowboys finishing at 8-8 this season in the NFC East. For the Giants, I have them finishing with a record of 9-7 overall. A very good season. Eli Manning will have a breakout season this year, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles will have a solid 11-5 record going into the playoffs and be the 4th seed overall in the NFC, in the NFC East. In the AFC South, you have the Indianapolis Colts will probably run away with this division. They'll finish with a record of 12-4. Houston, I think, will finish in second. They're going to be 7-9. Tennessee will finish with a poor record of 4-12, in my opinion, but not as bad as the Jaguars. The Jaguars are going to be 3-13 this year. Probably get the #1 overall pick, besides the Raiders, who I think the Raiders are going to be a bad team this year too, as well. In the NFC South, Tampa Bay is, I think, the #3 seed overall in the overall playoff system. I think their record of 11-5 will be very good. Freeman is a very good quarterback. I think Tampa Bay will take the division, tie with New Orleans. The New Orleans Saints will both be finishing up at 11-5. The Falcons I have finishing third with a record of 9-7 overall. And I have the Carolina Panthers with the injured Cam Newton to his ribs and to his elbow. I think he's going to be damaged goods. I think the Panthers will finish with a record of 4-12. In the AFC West, well, what can you say? The Raiders will probably be the Raiders. They'll probably win 2 games this year. One of them probably against Cleveland, to say the least. They'll finish with a record of 2-14, in my opinion. The Chiefs will finish up with a record of 7-9 overall. Kansas City is a very, very balanced club. I think they'll be a very solid contender for this season. The Chargers, the San Diego Chargers, will give Denver a run for their money, but I think overall they'll finish 10-6 overall. But the Denver Broncos will finish with a record of 13-3. They will be the #2 seed overall going forward in the playoffs format. In the AFC West, it's basically between Seattle and the 49ers. Who can win the games against each other is going to determine who is going to win that division. I think Seattle's a better club this year. I think they're going to be having a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They'll finish 12-4 on the season. And the 49ers will finish with 11-5. The Cardinals of Arizona I see finishing with a record of 7-9. They're a very, very good club this year. But their schedule is a little daunting for them. And then the St. Louis Rams, with no Bradford, I see them winning at least 4 games, 4-12 to end the season this year. So that leaves the AFC and the NFC North. And that's where our show is based out of. We'll start with the NFC North. I think the Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings in my opinion, have not improved since the last time we've seen them on the football field. I see them finishing with a record of 4-12 this year. In third place, and I'm sorry to say this, it will be a tie for second place between the Bears and the Lions. The Lions, I think, are a better club this year. Even though with the new coach, Caldwell, I think that Stafford is going to be very, very key in the pocket. I see them finishing with a record of 9-7. I see the Bears finishing with a record of 9-7 this year. But the Green Bay Packers are the team to beat in the AFC and the NFC North. I think they're going to be a dominant club this year. Very, very dominant. And I'm taking Green Bay to win the division and get the #1 overall seed with a record of 14-2. The 2 losses, one to maybe either New England or just Chicago or an unranked team that, at the end of the season. They'll get you the #1 overall seed. Then the AFC North. Now this is very interesting. You have a Ray Rice situation. He's out for 2 games. Those first two games with the Ravens, I think, will be losses. I don't think the Ravens are going to be a good team this year. That's why I have them finishing in third place. Fourth place this year, in dead last, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is a very, very interesting development with them. With no Blunt and the other guy, I can't remember his name offhand, not in the lineup for the next 4 games. Not going to cut it. Not cut it, in my opinion. And so, with that in mind, I have the Steelers with a record of 6-10. the Browns will finish better than the Steelers this year. And here's why I say that. Even though no Josh Gordon this year, the Browns have gotten pieces. But yet I still have questions. I still think that they'll finish 8-8. I think the Browns will finish 8-8 this year. If Hoyer gets hurt, you know Manziel will come in. And then we got to look at what else after Manziel gets hurt, who's going to be the replacement for him. Just going to say that. But overall, I think the Bengals will win the division with a record of 11-5. They'll get the number 4 overall seed in the AFC North division. So now that sets up for this. New England will be the number 1 overall seed. You will have the Colts finishing in second with the number 2 overall seed. You have the Broncos. I think the Broncos will finish number 1. Actually, in my opinion, my apologies. Broncos 1, New England 2. Then you have the Colts with 3, and the 4th being the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the AFC I'm talking about as you're watching to the All Andy Alfred NFL Preview Edition. My 2 wildcard teams are the Dolphins and the Chargers. Those are my 2 wildcard teams in the AFC. In the AFC, you'll have a 1 playing a 6. You'll have not a 1 playing a 6, but you'll have a 2. You'll have a 3 playing a 6 and a 4 playing a 5. So it would be the Bengals versus the Dolphins. I'll take the Dolphins. I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be that great of a powerhouse this year. I think the Bengals cannot get over the hump of a first win playoff game. They cannot get over that, so I think they're out. So then you have the let's see here. You have the Chargers versus the not the Broncos, but the Chargers versus the Colts. I'll take the Colts, of course, with Andrew Luck in that department. So that sets up the Patriots taking on the Dolphins, and then you have the Chargers. You take the Colts versus the Broncos. I'll take the Broncos to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots will prevail in this one and head to the Super Bowl this year. I think Tom Brady is due and Bill Belichick is due for a championship one final time. So I have New England for the AFC. In the NFC, I have my number 1 overall seed, the Green Bay Packers. The number 2 seed overall is the Seattle Seahawks. Number 3 overall seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 4 is the Eagles. 5, I have to say this right now, will be the 49ers of San Francisco. And my number 6 have to be the New Orleans Saints. 1 team out of the North Division this year, and that is the Packers. I'm sorry, Lions fans. I don't think we're going to be good enough to make the playoffs this year. 8-8 sounds very decent. Maybe 9-7 if we're lucky. So the number 1 and number 2 seeds overall, the Seahawks and the Packers will get a first-round bye. The number 3 seed will play the number 6 seed, and the number 3 seed overall is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We will play the number 6 seed overall, the 49ers. I think that would be a great matchup. Freeman versus Freeman, I think, will dominate, but the 49ers is very good. The 49ers are hungry to get back into it after being snubbed. They could have been in the final with the Broncos, but one play ended the game and ended their season for them. So I'm picking the Buccaneers to beat the 49ers in the first round playoff game. The second playoff game, of course, is the Eagles. They'll take on... the Eagles will take on the number 5 team seen in the New Orleans Saints. I think Drew Brees, that time of year, very, very good club. I take the Saints to beat the Eagles. No AFC NFC East team will make the first round, pass the first round. So that sets up the Packers versus the Saints. and the 49ers to take on the Seahawks in a division game. Well, excuse me, it takes the Packers taking on the 49ers and the Seahawks to take on the Saints. I think the Seahawks will beat the Saints and make it to the NFC Championship game. But the 49ers won't. The 49ers will be eliminated by the Green Bay Packers. And in my opinion, Green Bay will take on the Seattle Seahawks. And in my opinion, Green Bay is a better team this year, on paper and on the field. They will win the NFC division and play the New England Patriots for the Super Bowl title. Now, Peter King has got the Packers versus the Colts. When I saw that, I thought that was a joke. It's a joke. Peter King doesn't know shit from a hole in the ground. Monday morning quarterback, my foot. I don't think Peter King doesn't see what Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have to put the number one seed and the number one team to play each other like I do. I think the Patriots will do it. I think the Patriots will probably win this year and get to the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to put my paws into a Super Bowl prediction on who's going to win it all. I'm just telling you who I think is going to make it to the finals. Make it to the final game. The final two teams. It will be interesting. It will be interesting, to say the least. Now, Browns fans, don't worry about it. It's going to be alright. You know, no Josh Gordon, of course. Johnny Manziel, going to be very, very good this year on the bench with the clipboard. And for us Lions fans, no Nate Burleson, because he's been cut by the Browns. And no, I think a new coach and a new regime. Very interesting to see what happens on Monday Night Football this upcoming Monday versus the Giants. On tomorrow, on our next program of All Andy Alfred, I will be talking about recapping the game that was tonight between the Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers, and so much more. I hope you enjoyed All Andy Alfred today, the NFL Preview Edition. Subscribe to our channel. It is at ClayFan23. You can also follow me on Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred. I hope you have a great one. Enjoy the football action this upcoming weekend in the pro styles. Also, don't forget to watch your college teams and your local high school team as well. I'm Andy Alfred. I hope you enjoy the football coverage. And as always, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. Game of life. And to your team that you root for at home as well. Victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a good evening and enjoy this first week of NFL play.